critical race theory debate has caused chaos in school board meetings across the country over the past few months. And now the Justice Department's going after parents who say they're harassing or intimidating school teachers. This comes after the National School Board Association likened parents who oppose the progressive curriculum and mask mandates to domestic terrorists. Let's talk about some overreach, friends, and bring in founder of Young Americans Against Socialism and contributor here at the First TV, Morgan Zegers. Morgan, how are you?
I'm great, Buck. Thank you. And this topic is right up my alley, so I'm excited.
Yeah, what's with the Attorney General Merrick Garland saying they're going to be looking at some kind of a task force on dealing with all the threats against teachers as a federal crime situation? That seemed very weird.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little weird to be using FBI resources to target passionate parents that are just concerned about the indoctrination and sexualization of their babies. But what I'm seeing here, Buck, I don't know if you remember what happened with January 6th. Obviously, that was wild. Obviously, most Americans don't align with what actually happened on the Capitol and with the people that were actually destroying historic property. Some really bad stuff happened that day, but that wasn't indicative of what was going on nationwide. In fact, it's really just this fringe situation that happened. And what happened in the few situations of violence at these school board meetings was really just people getting rowdy. And now that was that small justification that's needed for our national bureaucracy to come and use their law enforcement resources and tactics to intimidate parents from speaking out against the leftist indoctrination that's happening in the classroom.
Here's a letter from the National School Board Association that they sent to Biden last week. NSBA believes immediate assistance is required to protect our students, school board members, and educators who are susceptible to acts of violence affecting interstate commerce because of threats to their districts, families, and personal safety. The classification of these heinous actions could be the equivalent of a form of domestic terrorism and hate crimes. That seems like pretty extreme language for an organization to be sending to the president and demanding immediate federal government resources to address it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know about you, Buck. I get called a white supremacist, a Nazi, a sexist, a bigot, and a domestic terrorist like every other day. Not just online, but in person. People say it to my face. I get called a sexist. Yes, I am a woman. That is apparently a sexist to the left. So they throw out these terms all the time. The problem is it's no longer just these slurs on social media. Right now, the FBI and these major bureaucratic groups of our federal government are using this kind of behavior from the radical left and from these teacher union organizations, these school board organizations, to target us as actual domestic terrorists at a school board level. So that's what's going on here. It's no longer just fringe social media attacks. The federal bureaucracy is coming after parents. Now, what's really concerning here is they're saying that they're doing this to protect the students, when in reality, our students need to be protected by the radical teachers, teachers unions, and school boards that are trying to indoctrinate them and make them into government property, not our babies.
Attorney General Garland, according to Ron DeSantis, who put this out in a tweet, governor of Florida, is weaponizing the DOJ by using the FBI to pursue concerned parents and silence them through intimidation. Florida will defend the free speech rights of its citizens and not allow federal agents to squelch dissent. It certainly does feel like when the DOJ is putting out a threatening statement about people who oppose parents who oppose CRT being taught to their kids in schools, it is time to really worry about not just the chilling effect that this will have on free speech, but the possibility of real follow-up and government overreach that could result in FBI agents knocking on doors saying, hey, we heard you were at that anti-mask meeting at the school board. Can we talk to you for a bit? Which will send a chill down a lot of people's spines.
Exactly. And I have many friends that were reporters and journalists that were just covering the January 6th situation, and they've been getting lots of calls from our federal bureaucracy. Same thing of, I heard you were in the area, you were in town, what were you doing? Tell me more about it. And we're going to see that with every political situation now. This is just the new standard of politics. COVID has been politicized, and now if you disagree with the radical left on their policies, they will use our national law enforcement weaponized against you to continue mute their own political platform. What's concerning here, when you look at the bigger picture, I've talked to you about this before, Buck. There's that checklist throughout history of what happens as the left rises to power. This is a situation and an example of three different parts. You have the rise of the totalitarianism aspect, so that cancel culture we talk about, where you remove people from the public square, you stifle political opposing thought. That's what's happening here, in just the sense of silencing these parents and scaring them from wanting to speak out. You have, first of all, straight up, the indoctrination of our kids. It's a major aspect of the rise of the radical left, especially in the 20th century. And now we're seeing the weaponization of our bureaucracy against the people. And we see this also in situations of them attacking political thought leaders like Tucker Carlson. Remember, recently, the NSA was exposed for spying on him.